that's a logical approach. I won't argue with that. What level of evidence will substantiate that as being an appropriate global level population, which is the question I asked you, response to this virus? Not a virus, this virus.
Okay, so I am not a virologist. However, going by the evidence, and again, I can show you evidence of what they did during the last pandemic 100 years ago.
Now, my question was this virus, my friend.
Exactly. But like Stephen Sarley said, we need to look at the history. We always should look at the history. If history is not important, then why would we have Black History Month?
Sorry, Leon, I don't think he's disputing that we should look at history. I think what he's trying to say.
So what I'm saying is my answers come from history. My answers come from history.
Is a very different virus to the flu virus. And I think that's what he's trying to say. So he's saying specifically for this virus, which is a coronavirus, what level of evidence? Because that's what we would need to know. What level of evidence would you need in order to like take a vaccine or know what needs to be done to be treated or to stop it?
I think I'd like to come in here and just share.
And that's what I said. I said, based on the last pandemic, they used the sun. So, using logic, I'd use the sun.
Okay, but logic would tell you that you use the same treatment for the same virus. Logic would tell you a different virus requires a different approach.
Carlon, 1 second, bro. Brother Stephen Starley wanted to come in, and he has.
Sorry, brother.
No, that's okay, brother. I just wanted to say that we all want the very best for our people, okay, as a start here with this. And if we're going to use logic or logic-based approach, one of the things also we want to really look at is that how are we as a people approaching this in a logical way? I mean, you talked about a global response. And I think we have to go back to the fact that when this pandemic started in China, nobody knew how to deal with it. So you can see, when asked the question, logically would have thought it would have gone to Beijing and to the other cities in China, but it didn't. It came straight out to the West. And literally we're seeing today that the response was to lock down everywhere. But how effective has the lockdowns been? We don't know that, okay? Has it managed to stop the virus? We're also seeing that today the only logical thing that's being offered by the powers that be is a vaccine. But nobody's actually talking about the immune system or helping the immune system to support. So when you talk about the logical response, ideally, people would first of all look at prevention. And we've done as much wearing of masks, we've done wearing of social distancing, we've done all that to try and prevent, but people are still dying. So it means there's something that we're missing out on that supposedly the vaccine is going to offer. So that is yet an unknown at this moment in time. But at the same time, my key response is that if we're looking at logic, we have to really think as people from the fact that whatever's going on right now, we have to take into consideration the fact that people need an answer, they need a solution, but they're also scared from what we call the brow or the predictive programming that has been on the media using fear as the main way of driving a solution. So when we ask people to think logic about a global response, the world stood still and the world shut down. And today we're seeing the world still does not have an answer. But yet at this time, when Leon is talking about logic and evidence, the evidence is showing that we need a response, but how we choose the response is going to be the key, and also the evidence that we find. So what we're looking at is using what we call history to learn from the history, which is what I was mainly creating awareness around, but also to help us to really understand the fact that we could actually take the wrong road and create devastating effects for people worldwide because of the decisions we make here today.
Thank you, brother.
So for the against team,
can I just come back on that if that's okay?
Sorry, sister.
Can I just come back on that if that's okay?
Please, yes, there.
I think I would just like to say I do agree actually that it's not just going to be one approach, and none of us are saying it's going to be one approach. I think Dr. Leon actually proved quite nicely actually why it's not going to be just one approach, because as we both stated, the vaccine is not 100% effective. It's 94%, 95% efficacious in a study, which will translate to something completely different in real life in terms of effectiveness. The other thing to say is that in reality, unfortunately, we will be living with these measures in regards to social distancing, face masks, washing hands, all of these things for probably, unfortunately, at least another year, maybe if not longer. Even if the vaccine is effectively rolled out, etc., that will still be the case. The other thing to say is I think it is really important that we talk about prevention, because that is what vaccines are about. They're about prevention. But I do wholly agree that it's important that we look at our health. And both Colin and I have both stated that it's really important as a people. And I think the thing to say is actually, this isn't just about us. In the UK, we're only 3% of the population. If this was really just about our community, then it wouldn't make sense on a global scale. This isn't just about us. It's about the community as a whole, i.e. the whole population of the earth, the whole population of this country. And in reality, yeah, we do need to do things about ensuring that we improve our health. I've been saying this for a while. I mean, I'm personally a little bit overweight, so I probably don't even have a leg to stand on when I say this, but it's really important because obesity is a major risk factor for COVID, and it's a major factor for severe COVID. It's something that we can do something about, and we should do. If we can improve our diet, we should do. The other thing to say is that age, unfortunately, is something that we can't escape. We all age naturally. Thankfully, we thank God that we age, and that's an important thing. But unfortunately, that's a big risk factor for the virus. So I think we need to take things holistically. And none of us, and actually from a public health point of view, public health is all about a holistic approach. And so this is one thing on top of many other things that hopefully will protect us and get us out of this insane cycle.
Fantastic. And what I love in this debate, and I've got to say this to you on behalf of everyone watching, we're loving the spirit of this. Gloves are off, but it's pure love, unity, and reasoning. The against team, it's your turn to pose the question to the 14.
Brother? I'll go. All right. So in my presentation, I proved that the government's been sending, well, not even mixed messages, just creating total confusion. Yeah. So you guys said one thing, they're saying another. So there's total confusion with regards to coronavirus and COVID-19, and that's just total confusion. Yeah. Even the people in the chat were saying it's just total confusion. So here's my question to the 4 team. What's the difference between coronavirus and COVID-19?
Wow. Wow. When I see my Dr. Filson smiling, I know this is going to get deep now. All right, let's go.
I mean,
Sarah, can I take the first part of the question?
Yeah.
And then I'll let you deal with the coronavirus bit. Is that okay?
Sure.
Brother Leon, what you did on your presentation was show us short sound snippets of contradicting bits of information, right? Which is true.
Yeah.
And one, I dispute that because it's what we're then talking about is language semantics. We're talking about he said fully protected versus partially protected. So we're then into an argument of language, which is not a medical or scientific argument. So I have to dispute that. Secondly,
so wait, sorry, what are you disputing? Let me just for clarity. No, because there's people in the chat. What are you disputing? Are you disputing that there's no confusion?
No, I'm not.
Oh, so there is confusion.
No, because you didn't let me finish my answer.
I want to know what you're disputing.
Well, let him finish his answer then.
What I'm saying is you presented sound snippets of conflicting bits of information. I'm agreeing with what you presented, yes? My argument is that is why we as a community need to educate ourselves and have health literacy.
Amen.
Because then you hear that, you can pick that apart. There shouldn't be confusion because there's facts and there's non-facts and there's language arguments, which is what you presented.
Bro, what are you disputing?
If we're health aware and we're health literate and we understand what the difference between corona and coronavirus and COVID-19 is, which is what Sarah's now going to educate us on, you don't need to ask these questions. Sister, you can carry on.
Bro, you didn't answer. No, what are you disputing, brother? What are you disputing? You see, confusion. I asked a question, it's not getting answered.
I'm telling you, there wouldn't be so much confusion if we had health literacy.
Yeah, I
But
think
what did you're not? You said you disputed something, and then said you're not telling me what you're disputing.
I
That creates
disputed the-
confusion, bro.
No, it was the presentation. What you presented was sound snippets of people giving conflicting bits of information based on a one-word hinge on a sentence. So of course that creates
True,
confusion.
but what are you disputing? What are you
that's
disputing? Are you disputing that creates confusion?
No, there was no
Well, then
dispute.
we're
I'm
agreeing.
illustrating the point. My dispute is that shouldn't be the case if we were health literate and understood the issues that were being discussed.
All right, let's get back to the main question. COVID and coronavirus. What's the difference?
so. Just back to the confusion thing. I completely agree. There has been confusing information throughout the pandemic. It's a new virus. There's going to be confusion. Things are going to change. Data is going to change, and people's perspectives are going to change. I fully agree with that. My perspectives have changed as I've learned more about the virus over the year. So I don't dispute the fact that there has been confusion. I think from a politics point of view, I think the thing to say is that as a politician, I mean, I don't like politicians. I'm not a fan of politicians. Politicians have to take into account health economics, health of a society, as well as the economics of society. So therefore, they will make decisions that are contraindicated to each other because of that. So back to kind of what is coronavirus and what is COVID-19. So somebody mentioned the thing about the fact that detergents, etc., had coronavirus written on them for years. That is true because coronaviruses as a whole are a family of viruses. When I talked earlier on about the vaccine, I said that a lot of the early development was done on other coronaviruses, i.e. SARS, which is the first coronavirus that which is most related to SARS-CoV-2, which is what causes COVID-19. And so that is the current coronavirus we're dealing with. There is also Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome, which is also a coronavirus. And there are also loads of nondescript common colds that cause coronaviruses as well. Many of them, all of which were actually initially on respiratory panels or tests prior to this pandemic being a problem. So coronaviruses as a whole, it's like, think about it as, I don't know how to describe it. Well, just think about it as a family surname. It's a family surname, and there are multiple different surnames. The thing, children or whatever, members of the family. The thing to say is that COVID-19 is a disease which is caused by SARS-CoV-2, which is the virus. So the virus itself is actually called SARS-CoV-2. It was initially called something like nCoV. It was called Wuhan COVID. It had multiple names before it got to where it is. But the reality is there are numerous coronaviruses, and COVID-19 is one disease caused by one specific coronavirus.
And why is there a patent for it at the moment?
So there are patents on kind of the structure of viruses, etc. There are multiple patents on multiple structures everywhere. When something is identified initially, when the genetic code is identified, it is then licensed and patented so that people can then make money. Unfortunately, because that's the way, I mean, let's not be silly here. We know money makes the world go round. None of us are deluded enough to think that drug companies are doing this out of the kindness of their heart. However, almost every kind of biologic virus, etc., will be patented in some way in order that in the future people can either make money of them or they can use them to be done in different things. So it's not an uncommon thing. And if any of you guys have ever like looked at patents and patents laws, there are so many of them, and they cover the most minute pieces of like information and data and genetics in the world. You'd be surprised. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's people make loads of money off patent laws. They make loads of money off patents.
I totally agree with you in that. But also, what we're looking at here, Dr. Filson, is that why is it that today that we're also seeing that before this pandemic, there was a very